Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Man Cave Chronicles. I'm James Dean Littlejohn. I'm here, your host. I sound like I'm trying to be professional. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing here. I'm just literally winging it. But I'm here, I'm back. How the devil are you? Hopefully, you've been okay since my last podcast a couple of days ago. The reason I've done this quite quickly today is because I felt empowered. I felt I needed to talk. I enjoy this process. I was even reflecting on it actually from the last. This is annoying me. I'm going to stop this straight away. Hold on. It's because I had to adjust it earlier on, and so it was across the camera, and it was annoying me. You probably couldn't see it, but it was pissing me right off. So I suppose I wanted to jump on because there's a couple of things that have happened. I reflected quite heavily from the podcast, and I reflected on the whole process actually about how it was, how I felt it. Sorry, I'm just going to just adjust that volume. It's a bit loud, isn't it? It's a bit loud. See, I'm still getting this. I'm still trying to adjust this. So I'm still trying to get it right. I'll never get it right. That's life. So yeah, so I reflected quite heavily, and I was sat there, and I was mulling over a few things, and then I suppose, well, I know what the trigger was. The trigger was a comment that was actually said on the podcast, and it was a comment, and it was quite a negative comment. But do you know what? I don't get offended. It's the internet. You're expecting that, you expect negativity. Everyone's got a different opinion about life. My opinion doesn't mean that your opinion is invalid. But what it does do, allow me to reflect. So I actually viewed the comment and went, oh, I think you do need to grow up. I probably actually reacted quite a negative. I'm even reflecting now. I reacted quite negatively. I was like, basically, it was a polite way of saying fuck off. But I didn't mean to, but I did mean to at the time. And again, I reacted emotionally. So that triggered me. So then I've come on to try and sort of elaborate on that conversation and just maybe get some thoughts and processes. I don't know. Because again, I'm navigating this shit as best as I can. And I suppose I'm trying to offer support. I'm trying to offer help. And also, it's one of those ones where, it's easy to try and, if you hear someone else is going through it, you know that you're not alone. It's weird because, like, for years I was going, like, I must be the only one that's fucking got this, or I'm the only one with this addiction, or, you know what I mean? You're very self-centered, not in a negative way, but you are self-centered. You believe if you've got a mental health condition, or, you're having depression or stress, whatever you are in the core of that moment, you feel like you're the only one in that moment. So, it's very easy to sit there and procrastinate about that, and it's very easy to to overthink it, to overstress it. And do you know what? Every single time that I went through my 3 suicide attempts, I'm going to say it, but I apologize for triggering people. But every time I went to those places, it was always the same thought process in terms of, like, I can quite categorically and openly talk and say everyone went the same way. It was very much, the world is against me. Everybody fucking hates me. I'm a dickhead, or do you know what I mean? Or no one fucking loves me. No one would miss me. It's that same rhetoric. And believe it or not, I think most people, I'm not speaking for everybody, but it seems to be a common thing. That's what the depression does. It makes you self-centered, makes you not self-centered, makes you isolated. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. So it makes you isolated. You push yourself away from the world, and then you blame the world, and then basically, it depends on how strong your mindset is, because it is roundabout. It is about how strong your mindset is. Some people's mindsets will push themselves. I'm fortunately, I had a strong enough mindset to not be. I'm obviously still talking to you, so. But what it has done, being through those serious times, is it's allowed me to reflect. It's allowed me to understand, and it's allowed me to be transparent, and very much puts life into perspective. So if I'm having a really bad time now, I think I can think back to that time when and how I really felt, and the boundaries that I pushed myself to, and I acknowledge I don't want to get to that place ever again, because that was a severely sad place, and I mean, like, crippling, internally crippling. I know for a fact that the stress over that period of time will have 100% taken um, life off of my own life, because that's what happens. It's stress that triggers a multitude of medical issues and concerns. So I know I did that, and the way I look at it is, I'm on the other side of the fence, so to speak. Now, I've been through the real tough times, and I mean, I've been to right up to the point of almost, being there, and literally horrible. I was just quickly reflecting on it then. So, I've been there. So, and it doesn't make me an artist in it. And what to say, it doesn't make me an essay, subject matter expert in it at all. No, not at all. What I mean is, I've been through there, so I'm able to use that as a life lesson for myself. So, for me, I kind of like to talk about that, like to be transparent, and I never heard anyone talking about it at the time, especially a man. And I know we are certainly, I see it a lot more now on social media, a lot more men talking about this negativity because, you often find that they've got the strength, they've probably been on the other side. So they've got life experiences to talk about. And I think, personally, the more you talk about it, the more men talk about it, the more that we talk about mental health in general, which is what my focus is here. So, I'm going through life lessons, I'm going through experiences, and I want other people to know that you're not the only one. And you can sit there, you can suffer, but don't suffer in silence. Suffer and talk about it. And it's very much like, so yes, I am on the internet, putting my face out there, talking about very personal things. Absolutely, I get that. I'm not the only one. And I'm not a niche. I'm just basically saying, just trying to add to the forum of other men or other people, that are talking about these things, to let them know that life is fucking a bit shit. We do have really tough times, but ultimately, if you've got the right mechanisms in place and you build up the right strength and you look after yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and understand about yourself, it helps you to navigate life. So, I've been through fucking war and back, quite literally. So, for me, kind of all of these things have all helped me, and it's helped me to understand. And even now, I learn all the time. So I'm absolutely. I've just noticed actually. Two seconds. I'm just gonna. Ooh. I'm just going to adjust that focal point because it kept licking. It still goes out a little bit on the left of my eye there. It caught the corner of my eye as I was talking to you. I was like, why is that going fuzzy? Anyway, I apologize. So yeah, so I navigate these things in life, and I'm very transparent. And do you know what? The trigger, so to speak, that gave that negative situation wanted me to talk and elaborate on that and give you a little bit of an emotional background. I'm very much of the ilk in terms of my whole family. So I'm from a background where we don't talk about things. We kind of like, my family background is you suppress it, you let it build up, and then you fucking explode. And then once you've exploded, and you've all fucking, there's collateral damage everywhere, you just go, okay, but we feel much better now. We get it out, we've got it out now. So we feel good. We move on from this. No, that doesn't work. That's the way I was raised. And I don't mean that in a negative sense against my parents. It's not, it's just the way that family dynamic was. And again, you're talking about my dad's generation, which is like, the 50s, where men did not talk about anything like that at all. We literally shut up. So we're trying to change that stigma because, that doesn't drive the right behaviors. And, as humans, we rely on emotion, we rely on connection, we rely on, and I think that for me, the more transparent I am, the easier I find life, because people know when they've upset me, or I like to know when I've upset people. So I'm very receptive to 360 feedback. Tell me if I'm being a knob, and I'll try and learn from it. And I don't take offense to things. It's very, very little I take offense to, because again, I've been through fucking war and back. So I'm just sitting there going like, fucking hell, is that all you've got? I've done this and I've been through this. So I look at it as very much, I've built resilience. I've built strength inside, and I'm very, like I said, I'm very self-aware. I'm very understanding. I know when I need to move on. I know when I need to break, or I know what I need to do because of how my body works. So I think that, but that's matured over time. So, I'm very much of the ilk of trying to change that mindset. So my family dynamic, the dynamic I have with, I live with 4 fucking women, and they are all women, so in the sense that I deal with all of the things that goes along with emotional instability with women. Okay, I'm going to tell you now firsthand, I deal with, things I shouldn't be seeing and dealing with. So, for me, I have to be open and transparent because I don't understand women's emotions, and because of my ADHD and autism, I don't have an emotional. I don't have. I've yet to find an emotional receptor. Do you know what I mean? I don't get emotional about things. I don't get up. I the only my emotion is 0 to hero. So you'll either get really fucking happy or you get really fucking angry. There's no, so that's my emotion, really happy, really angry. But even after angry, I don't get fucking, I don't show, that's my emotional thing. So I don't get remorse. I don't get, any what's the word I'm thinking of? I don't get upset. I don't get emotional about, like, I've been to funerals before and I just sit there and I go, okay, this is all just a bit weird. I'm not like that. So it's really, really hard when you live with 4 women to not have emotional when you live with 4 women that have fucking bags of emotion. Trust me. Okay, so I have opted for the transparency. I want them to tell me if I fuck up, because I will probably, and I have done. I've got plethora of stories where I've fucked up and said things I shouldn't say, which I thought was banter, but women won't take that as banter, and I'm fucking, it's horrible. It's a minefield. It's a minefield for all of us. So hence the reason why I have this man cave. I have this little setup because this is my private space. This is where I go. This is where I need to decompress, because there's stuff I don't want to hear, I don't want to talk about, and sometimes even their emotion can be overpowering for me sometimes. So, I'm very much, I do what I can. I do what I can. So for me, we're very much an open family. So we will talk about everything. There's nothing, we don't play good cop, bad cop. We just go, this is it. If you've upset me, you've done something fucking stupid, I'll tell you you've done something stupid. I don't punish my children, never have. I've never had to lay a hand on my fucking children. I've raised my voice, obviously, because I've had to, because of fucking kids, and they wind you up. But I don't do that. I don't get angry with them. There's no point. It's never worked for me. I don't sit them on the naughty step or anything like that. I just go, I'm just disappointed. If that's the bit, I'm just a bit disappointed. Do you know what I mean? I haven't got angry if they fail something. I go, okay, well, don't worry about it. Let's do it again. My daughter failed her, and I will. I'm going to caveat this. She failed her fucking theory test 8 times. And I was like, and she just couldn't grasp it. I know why she couldn't grasp it. It's because she didn't put in the ground effort to do it. And we acknowledge this. And do you know what? We spoke about it as a family. And I said, how do you feel about it? She goes, oh, I feel like a bit let down. Like I let you down. You're not let me down. Not at all. Not at all. It's on you to pass. I can help you. I can give you all the tools. I can sit and do tests with you. I can do everything with you, which I did. And you didn't grasp it until the time when you felt you were ready. And it was when she really wanted a car, because she didn't need a car. She didn't need to we were transporting her around. She has a car out there sat waiting for her. And I said to her, you're very lucky. You've got a car. And a lot of children don't get that. And, we've managed to save up to get you that. So, you need to get on and use it. But because we were still doing all the errands and she didn't have to worry about it, and a job was a bus ride away, which was nice and cheap, she didn't have the incentive to go. And then all of a sudden she took on college in a different area. So she went to a different, so from Wiltshire to Hampshire. So to get from our house to her college was an hour and a half on the bus. And I said to her, do you know how long that'll take you in a car driving direct? 20 minutes. And she was like, oh. So what have we got now? And as soon as we got that incentive, she passed the same week. As soon as she realized the incentive, the next week. So, and then she's now geared up for a driving test, so, and I don't have a worry at all about the practical side of things. She's a very good driver. And she's had a lot of private, we've taken her out a lot. So she's very au fait with the whole situation of driving. So it's comfortable. I feel good. But the incentive is now there. She's got that incentive. So anyway, I digress. Yes, we are an absolute transparent family. Have to be transparent, because I need to know when I fucked up, and I need to know if I upset them, and vice versa. If they've upset me, I want to be able to tell you, you fucking upset me there. You've been a bit of a dick. So we're very much transparent. We're a fluid family. We're good. So obviously, I mentioned about a very personal thing. To put context on that, I was talking about my daughter. So, and what had happened to her, which was a serious act. And a comment came up that, did I ask for her permission to tell the world, was the comment. Did I ask permission to tell the world that my daughter was sexually assaulted? Did I ask? Yes, that's what it was. Something like that. Did I ask my daughter, basically? And I was like, I did. I've spoken to my daughter, because we have been open and transparent about this. We've had to be, because it's a serious act. I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what she was feeling, exactly how she was feeling, and I want to make sure that I was there 110% to fully support her. Bearing in mind, this was about 3 years ago. So we've come a long way. So I'm not talking about this like it's raw. Yeah, I'm talking about this like it's something that is. So my observation, and this is, I got passionate about that then, because from my perspective, and to wrap this up, I did take offense to that comment, and I shouldn't have done. And on reflection, I don't, but here I am talking about it. So for me, what was the purpose in telling the world? Well, the purpose in telling the world is really to highlight that there is people that go through this sort of shit all the time. And there is worse things that goes out there all the time. And I'm not saying that is bad, because that is horrendous what happened to her. We have suffered as a family together all of this time, and we will continue to be there for each other until I pass away and I can no longer be there for her. That's my commitment to being a father. So we're very open and honest, and it's to the point of that open and honesty that she's able to move forward and be in a positive place in her life. And we still manage this every single day. So, but what I wanted to do was, again, highlight that you may go into work and you may go into a shop, you may go driving, you may do something, whatever it may be. You may be out and about and you may have a confrontation with someone. You may kick it off. That person may kick off with you because you've said something. But at the same time, there's an etiquette around being human. You've got to have a certain etiquette about, you've got to be a little bit respectful for each other. That is not often the case, but we do try. But it's to highlight that we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So if I'm going to keep all this private, how do we know that people go through these things? I find it difficult because I don't look at it as a negative. And also, it's almost like I took that as insinuating that I should be, or my daughter should be, ashamed and not talk about it. Do you see what I mean? So I looked at that as like, why would I not be transparent? She's been through that. So I wanted to highlight the world in the sense that there's shit that goes on out there. So now not only is the repercussions of that one act affected my daughter, it's affected all of the other people that are in my family. So it's affected, and I don't mean to take it away from her. So please let me put context. I shouldn't have to explain myself, but I do. So to put it in context, she's number one. She's priority number one. Yeah. There's fallout from that. The fallout is that I had another 2 daughters at the same time that were old enough to understand what had happened. So I now have that to manage because they're now worried about the world because of this incident. And also, that's food for thought for them, Christ alive, but never know the pain that she's gone through, but want to understand it. And again, I look at this from a female perspective. They're very emotional. I don't have emotion. So even with lack of emotion, it made me angry. Did I cry? No, I just wanted to kill him. So there's collateral damage there. Then you've got the parents. That's me and my wife. So that's us too. So that's another collateral damage. We now have our baby daughter, our firstborn, that's had this to her. So I want to mollycoddle her. I want to protect her. I can't do that because she's never going to be able to live. So we have to be open, honest, and transparent about life with each other to make sure that she feels confident to still live life. So again, I'm just, I don't see that as a negative. And then you've got the collateral damage of grandparents and cousins and or aunties and uncles, the support network that we've relied on as parents to say, what the fuck has happened here? How do I deal with this? When I went to my dad, how do you tell my dad what had happened to his granddaughter? Do you see what I mean? So there's collateral damage everywhere. So why would I not highlight that? And why would I be ashamed of this? Because we are, or my daughter is the victim here. Everyone else is the collateral damage of that victim of the incident. But at the same time, we're all victims because now we've encountered something. I never thought I would have a daughter and have to deal with this. Never in my fucking life. And I've spent countless hours trying my best to protect them as best as I can. And this was one thing that I didn't know how to. I thought I protected. I put all mitigations in to play. Do you know what I mean? This, if I'd have given you the full story, you'd understand it. I did everything I possibly could as a parent. This wasn't unforeseen. This came out the blue. But there's collateral damage to that, and I have to live with that every day. And then when I'm angry, really angry, that's something that I play in my mind because that's where I'm going to go to. I'm going to go to a dark place to draw more adrenaline from, to get more dopamine, to make myself more angry. So I've got to talk about these things because you can't talk about these things with your close network because we already know about it and we try our best. But there's awareness for this, and this is an awareness piece. So yes, I did my due diligence of going to my daughter and speaking to my daughter and say, by the way, I've mentioned the incident. And she was like, oh, okay. So I've given no context. I'm not giving any incident. There's no names. There's no nothing. I've just told the act has happened. Do you mind? Absolutely not, Dad. Absolutely not. It's for awareness. So, but someone felt the need to write a comment. So maybe I'm being passionate because I think it's an awareness piece. And then again, it's almost like you're trying to make things aware. You're trying to highlight things that we all go through. I've still had to be a functioning father through this. I've still had to go to work every day, every single day, including the next day. You know, I've had to go to through all the court and everything else, and the police coming around my house, the forensics for my daughter. I've had to do all of that I never thought I'd have to do. I've had to do counselling sessions with my daughter. I've had to sit there and have my wife ask me the question, why did he do it? You're a man. Why did he do it? Was the question I was asked. How the fuck do I answer that? How do I answer that? Number one, I'm not a rapist. So I wouldn't even know. It's not even in my textbook. It's not even in my book. I've got no idea. So but her mindset at the time, and this is the emotional bit that I didn't expect to deal with. Like I said, I've been that punch bag all the way through for all of my family. I've been the punch bag. So why would I not raise that as an awareness piece? Because fuck, that is hard work. When you sit there and you're at night and you're in bed and you get asked that question, well, I don't know how to answer that. And also, you've now, and I know it's an emotional response, so I don't take it as negativity, but at the same time, I've had to deal with that, and I sit there and then I take that away. I physically took that in my armor-plated body that I supposedly have as a man. I took that and I went, I don't know, darling. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I don't know what his mindset was thinking. I didn't challenge it because I'm not here for the argument. I just took the verbal abuse to me. No, and it's the same with my daughters. You know, I will be that punch bag. That's the resilience power of a man. We might not be emotionally stable in terms of, or not emotionally, we may not be emotionally outward talking as men. We do hide stuff in, but we have to because we constantly take this shit, you know, and I'm not saying that women don't, and I'm not chucking genders and all that stuff out there at all. And it's not like that. What I'm saying is, you know, expect the unexpected and how to deal with that. And there's and for me, that's the highlighting piece. That's the bit that I wasn't aware of. So, you know, it puts life into context, doesn't it? So I use it as an awareness piece. Anyway, I'm not going to digress into it too much, but I use it as an awareness piece. So, but I suppose for me to ask the community, and do you know what? It's been really interesting. Actually, I've had a bit of a smile on my face because I've been doing this, like I said, for 2 years. And I didn't really get much traction, and already I've had like 500 views. So thank you very much for the views. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully I'm offering you, like I said, this is, you know, this is mental health. This is men's mental health. I think it's really important to talk about, but mental health across across everywhere, really, because, you know, a lot of these things, you know, there is women that encounter these things. You know, obviously I talk about my ADHD and autism and those sort of challenges of life. I think that's, for me, is the reason I get so excited about talking about that is because I'm still navigating it. And I'm realizing my topic I'm going to talk about today, once I've moved away from this little segment, you know, it's really weird, but I reflected on it really heavily, this topic I was speaking about, literally last night, and I went, fucking, and it all just came into play. It all came into cogs, and I was like, oh, that's why. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, just to close that to bed. I suppose I just want a little bit of feedback, I suppose. You know, was I out of turn? I've done it. I thought I'd done everything right. I spoke to my daughter. I didn't give too much context, but I wanted to really just highlight that we don't know what people go through. And also just to put it into context as well, you know, so that, as that glittered into my head there, you know, she has to live with this, and she has to go to work. So I suppose I'm like forward thinking, I'm going to put it down to, because if we're kind in the workplace, it never has to be a problem because you're kind. So you never have to bring an emotion to the floor plate, which is, I think, the details there. I think for me is that. So it's be aware of your surroundings. You don't know. You might be talking to somebody. Like when I spoke about this to 3 of my colleagues at work, and I told them what had happened. Like I said to you last time, all 3 of those colleagues came back to me with a story of something they were dealing with recently that was mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. So I was instantly respectful that, number one, they were able to share that with me, and they felt empowered to share that with me. That was really important for me. But number two, it just reinforced going into work and being fucking kind. Going around life and trying to be fucking kind. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing in life. Nobody does. It's a fucking game. And the amount of people that literally take it so fucking seriously. And then don't get me wrong, I take it seriously at parts. You know, there is times where you need to be serious, but and there's times when why we've got laws and everything else in place to keep us all in a little bit of check. I get that. But the rest of it's a fucking game, mate. You know, don't be a dick. You know, if you act like a dick, and like I say, if you fuck around, you find out. So, you know, if you act like a dick in a car and cause me to get angry, that's on you. You were the dick. I'm just telling you you're a dick. If I'm a dick in the car and someone fucking has a go at me, I go, oh, yeah, fucking fair play, mate. I cut you up. I'm a dick. I'll admit it. Fucking 110%. I'm not gonna lie. If I wanted to get in there and I thought to myself, I've been along before where I've gone, I'm not gonna sit in this queue. And my missus has been sat beside me and she's gone, just sit in the fucking queue, James, for fuck's sake. I say, I'm not sitting in this fucking queue, mate. I'm sick of it. So I'll pull out and I'll go along and I'll fucking cut in. I'll literally be like, you know, they'll be beeping their fucking horn and they'll be when I go out and I go, yeah, I'm a dick. I'm a fucking dick. I apologize. I'm fucking sorry. Fucking brilliant. Life's too short, mate. I don't give a fuck. I do give a fuck. I do. I really do give a fuck. But you know, certain scenarios in life, if you can chance it, fucking chance it. Just don't break the law. Was that breaking the law? I'm just trying to think there. Was that breaking the fucking law? No, it wasn't. Probably a highway code or something. I don't know. There probably some regulation will get me. Bastards. Anyway, I'm going to digress. I digress. So there was a little bit of a snippet, just a little bit of feedback. Chuck it at me. Put it in the fucking comments and all that jazzy Jeff. I keep doing that. Oh, that's why I'm doing it, because I'm adjusting the focal point. What penis? And also, I'm going to address a couple of things, really. This looks like a giant fucking phallus on my fucking by my mouth. Does look like a giant penis. Why I did that movement, I don't know. But the more concerning bit is, I feel comfortable. That's a fucking worry for me. I got me Diet Coke on. A little sip to wet the whistle. Yeah, so what am I going to talk about today? Well, I am going to have... So I was super excited. When I'd done the last podcast, it felt good. It felt good. It really did. It felt really invigorating. I suppose it's because, again, I'm cautious about this because I did this for 2 years and I spoke quite in depth because it was a kind of like a bit of emotional download. And the reason I find this good doing this is because it's like a therapy session to me. I get to talk about my mind. You know, it's unedited. It's just fucking me. The problem is I don't have a filter, as you can probably understand, which is I do have a filter at the right time. So don't worry, I do go into my corporate job and I put my mask on and I filter and I don't swear and you know, there's no innuendos and I'm professional. I'm sat there like a fucking keyboard warrior. I do it. Okay, I mask up. I do a good job there. But this is me, so it's nice because I get to just talk as I want to, and it's really. But the difficulty is, I will say things that probably might offend people. I apologise. It won't be racist, so you're good there. I do teeter on the edge of. I do talk about male and female, so I apologise if I offend other people. I don't mean to. I really don't mean to. It's just the way it's in my mind, you know. So I apologise, but I am unfiltered, so you'll get a lot of swearing. You know, and and I'll divert a lot because of the ADHD. I'll find shiny things in my brain and I'll find them off. So, you know, but what I'm here to do is to try and help you, probably to help me. So what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk to you about something that I realized, which I'm the reason it's so prevalent now is because I'm finding it very difficult. And it was only when I reflected on this last night and the night before did I realise the pattern was there. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about employment. And the reason I want to talk about employment is as I've explained to you, ADHD, autistic. You know, so for me, diagnosed, don't worry. Medicated, don't worry. Okay, I've done all the right things. You know, the medication was a bit brutal. I'm not going to lie to you. The titration phase for ADHD, but it's got me on a bit of a level playing field, which is quite nice. I do like it because I am batshit fucking crazy, as you can probably tell by all the batshit crazy stuff that goes on here, the multitude of colours. it's quite, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's structured enough for the brain, one side of my brain, the other side. I'll talk, in fact, I'll just, whenever I navigate this podcast, one side of my brain, you'd understand, will navigate ADHD, and one side of my brain will navigate autism. Okay, just so you understand. So if I point brain to brain, it just saves me fucking saying it all the time. So yeah, so I've got one side that goes chaos, colors, fucking bright stuff, fucking Larry, crazy chaos, and then I've got the other side that goes, but just put it structured though, but you know what I mean, get it all nice and neat and nice and lined up, and you know, like I've got all the Beanos and they're all in date order, you know, things like that. So, and all my photos from the date, from the time that, you know, they're all date stamped, and they work from 2021 when it opened, the Clock and Balls opened, right the way down to 2025 and beyond. So yeah, lots. So there's lots going on. I get entertained in this place. So it's my personal chaos. Everyone comes in and goes, "What the fuck, mate? How do you work in this?" I'm like, "How do you work in that fucking brain, mate? I don't know, that side of the fucking brain, mate." So, but yeah, what I've noticed is, and it was masked naturally because of my employment. So this was the difficulty, and this is where it's really come to fruition, and that's basically employment. So what I've noticed is, and you've probably heard this on the internet, it's talked about, you know, there's a few people that talk about it, but there's these certain phases with employment, and when you find, when you go into a new job, you get excited, you know, so basically I get a lot of stimulation with a multitude of things. So I get stimulation from a new job, new people, learning new environments. I get stimulated because I'm in compliance and safety, so my day is different every single day. But also I do a lot of, I review, well, actually don't review, I fucking write processes. So for me, the autistic side of my brain, that side of the brain, it loves the structure. It loves writing processes. It's like, right, we've got a problem. How do we write a process so everyone can do it, and we're all sync. We're all fucking in one one line, and we're all working to the same process. I enjoy that. However, that's quite arduous, quite long. So I need other little jobs along the way. So safety gives me a little bit of that because it's a new thing every single day. So shiny stuff. However, we get to a steady state where I've realised that after about, for me, because a lot of people talk about it within a couple of weeks. It's not a couple of weeks. It's a long time for me. Is a year. So round about the year point, I kind of go, okay, yeah, I'm, you know, this is a steady state. I feel comfortable. I'm now not stressed. So I'll be in a stress situation for about a good year where I'll be like, this is new shit. Take on as much as I can. I want to learn as much as I can. I want to learn as much as I can about the business. Blah, 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 blah. You know, really enjoy it. Get into the depths, get into the weeds of it. So I'll do that for like a year. And then the second year I start to slow down a little bit, and then I go, okay, well, you know, I'm looking at the next promotional goal now. I'm looking at that, and that's where that is. And then, you know, so I get that. And if I don't get that, then I which has happened to me inherently. So I spoke a little bit about being overlooked. That was my last job, not this job, thankfully. This job is a good job. So I'm enjoying my job now. I'm in the second year. So this is where I've noticed the patterns coming in, because I've started to be a bit self-sabotagey. So in my previous jobs, I would get to the second year and I'd want promotion, because I go, okay, well, I'm comfortable at this job now. I'm good. I've got it to a steady state. And they're all say to me, my bosses normally say to me, well, I don't want to lose you because you're doing a good job where you are. So I just need you to stay there. That doesn't work for me, because I've done this. I've done my bit. I've learned it. I've understood it, and I've made it better. So my job's done. And now normally you would just sit there and go, well, that's a fucking easy life then, because you know your job, you know it like back your hand. No, I don't. I go, I want something different. So I'm going to go for a challenge. My challenge is I want to get promoted. There is where I want to be. I won't get it. I'll get overlooked. So what I do is I turn into a fucking narcissistic prick, and I start fucking basically shutting myself away from everyone. So I go from being this really fucking in-house bubbly motherfucker that comes in large, innuendos everywhere, flirty, fun, woo, party, party, party. Yes, you know, super learning ability. I do have a super learning ability. So I'll learn everything, and I'll be like, yeah, there's a problem there, and I'll fix things. So everyone's like, Jim will fix it. You know, I had to fucking pause there. Realize what I fucking said. Can't say that, mate. Why? That's a 1980s generation, and my name's James, which is called. So fuck it. That's why I said it. But James will fix it. So James will fix. Fuck you now, James. So James will fix it, and then you know, basically, everybody starts liking you because you're changing things. You're making life easier. You're fun. You bring spirit. Now I'm at the point where I'm bored now. I don't want to do this anymore. And that's where I'm at now. But I still, but then there's elements of me that still enjoy it. So I go, well, okay, I want that. And then when they don't give it to me, which they haven't previously, I would then go, okay, I'm going to look for another job then. Fuck you. And that's what I do. So it gets 2 years and I move on. And then I'm in the second phase of this new job that I've loved for the best part of 18, 19 months. And now I'm going, okay, well, I want the next promotion, because that's what I left that job for, to come here for promotion. I've done this for almost 2 years. I feel really happy. I feel like I'm in a steady state. I want to move on. I want to learn something new. And they're like, no, we like you where you are. We like you where you are, mate. You're doing a good job. You stay where you are. What we'll do is we'll give you a bit more money, but we'll give you a bit more work to keep you entertained. So this will entertain you, because I'm transparent and I'm honest. And I say, I need work. I need new things. I need to be stimulated, because if I'm not stimulated, I'll fuck off. That's as simple as I get. So, for me, I'm open enough to say, this is what I need. It helps the business because I'm going to go above and beyond, but I need it for me. I'm getting to the point now where I'm going, okay, I've done a lot here, which is good. I asked for it. But I want this. I want a bit more money, and I want a bit more promotion. And that's what I've said previously. I haven't said that yet in this job, but I'm on the cusp of it now. So I'm kind of going, James, I can feel I'm in self-sabotage mode, because I'm going to go, they're not going to promote me. I know they're not. And I already know that they know I'm doing a good job. So I'm sat here in a rock and a hard place going, I can feel what's going to happen. I don't want it to happen. So I reflected quite heavily on that, because that's a pattern. Now, why? And then I say to myself, well, why have I not ever experienced that before? To the degree that I have done in the last 6 years. Like say 5.5, so it would be almost 6 years. It would be 6 years I left my job that I was in for 21 years. I left that job for 21 years, stayed in that job for 21 years. And in the last 6 years, I've changed jobs 3 times. This is my 3rd job, and I'm looking again for another. And why I've set 2 years, I don't know. It's a mental thing, because I'm fucking mental, he says. So I've seen the pattern, and there's a pattern and it's a trend, and I do the same thing. And then what I do is I self-sabotage. And those last 2 jobs, I haven't left on happy terms. The bosses of the bosses have said, please come back, and you've always got a job here. The bosses under that haven't. And basically what they've done is, ultimately I've self-sabotaged, and they've said to me, well, you got to do this and this before you go. And then I go, fuck you, I ain't doing that. I'm out the fucking door, piss off. And then, we get to that point. And I have been spoken to like shit by bosses in previous jobs, basically saying, yeah, go for the job, but you won't get it. Why you would say that? That's just going to spur me on to go, fuck you then, mate, I'm going to get it. But so I've had a lot of negativity. And I'm starting to see that pattern now, and I'm just trying to alleviate that pattern. So I'm trying to learn from that pattern, because I think it's important. I can't go through changing jobs every 2 years, because inherently what comes with a new job is a new stress. And like you said, it sounds exciting, doesn't it? For some people, new job, new people, learning something new environment, really scary for the first 6 months. And then you start enjoying it and making friends. And then you get to the point where it becomes a steady state, and then you come to the point where you want to leave. So, I recognize this fucking pattern, grab hold of this pattern and stop it, James. Why didn't it happen before? That was my question to myself. I was like, why didn't it happen before? Well, fucking hell. It's quite straightforward, James, isn't it? You were in the military, mate. You move every fucking 3 years, but you spend the first 6 months learning the job, and you spend the last 6 months moving from the job. So there's only a 2-year window in between. So what I've inherently done, the military has inherently done, is given me a pattern to move. Because what I did is every 3 years, I would move jobs, and I would go to a different camp, doing a different aircraft type, because I was in the Royal Air Force. I like that one. I was a painter and finisher, so I used to spray the aircraft, and I would spend a period of time working on one airframe for a couple of years, learn it. I would go in, I would learn the job, get it down to a fucking T, and then get to the point where I was ready to go. I would be like, okay, well, I'm bored of this now. And then I would become a little bit self-sabotaging. I reflect back, and I'd become a bit of a dick. I'd start drinking, going out, fucking work off, coming into work with a hangover, just going, fuck it, it's a matter. So I inherently, the more I've reflected, the more I realized what I did. But there was a pattern. So I did that every 3 years. New airframe type, go in, new friends, new sports, because the military chucks sports at you. So you'd be like, I think I spent the first 2 years fishing. Then I spent the second camp doing basketball. And then, so I kind of just learned new things. And then I get the next job, I did table tennis and started doing table tennis for the RAF. And it was just, so you were learning, like, honestly, over the military is set for fucking ADHD. Okay, I'm going to tell you this now. It's set. The military is set for anyone with ADHD. If you want a fucking easy life with ADHD, join the fucking military, mate. It fucking ticks every box. Every year, I get to fire a weapon, to learn weapon handling tests, do my weapon handling test. Every year you do that. So you'd also have the gas chamber every year. So you had that fucking excitement to look forward to. You also had your fitness test every year. So you had to train for your fitness. You had an abundance of sports that you could just do. So, skiing, judo, fucking motorbiking, whatever you wanted to do, there was a sport in the military to do it. You got time off during the week to do it. So you got sports afternoons or sports days. Your job was you were working with a massive fucking team. So your job was it's never easy. You also would go away on tours. So you were constantly going away all the time. So you had a new experience. You were going away. I went to, let's say, Op Herrick and all that sort of stuff. And you go there and, well, that's a new experience. I'm getting fucking shot at and I'm shooting at other people and I'm having a fucking great time. You know what I mean? So it's not a great time at all. It's fucking horrendous. But mentally, and I mean, I'm stripping all emotion away of the context of what I'm saying here. So I'm giving you a background, but the context is mentally I'm stimulated constantly in the military. And not only that, even when I left the military and then did it as did painting for civilian side of things, every 2 years I did a anniversary cab. So like an anniversary decal. So it was a full helicopter Chinook respray. And basically it was like a unique one-off design. So I did that every 2 years. So again, what am I doing there? I've got myself into a pattern. Every 2 years, there's an anniversary, and I'm doing something special that I'm looking forward to, and I'm planning for a year, and then I'm executing for a year. I'm planning for a year, I'm executing for a year. I did that for 10 years. Well, that's fucking easy street, isn't it? With little bits in between. So, but what did I do? I got to the end of that tenure, and I went, I'm fucking not happy. My life wasn't the fucking best. I got to the point where I'd done so many anniversary cabs. I was bored of it now because I was like, okay, I've done this. In fact, actually, I say so many anniversary cabs. I'd done 4, and the 4 were the 4 squadrons that were on camp. So I had no more to do for the squadrons, and I wasn't going to get picked for other people because they would go to their other units. So I was like, I don't see another one of these coming along. So what do I see myself doing in the next 10 years? The next 2 years? And I was like, fuck. And then the cogs started turning, so I became self-sabotaging. So I argued with a lot of the senior leadership team and told them they were fucking wrong all the time. This is fucking bullshit. I'm not doing this. I became a fucking bellend to the point where my old boss knew me, and he knew me for 21 years. He knew me from I joined up, my first unit I went to, he was my boss. And he was my boss after 21 years in the civvy world. So he'd been through the whole mill, knew me the whole time. And even he said at the end, you were a different fucking person. And I was like, I'd had enough, mate. I'd had enough being taken a piss off. I fed us with it. I wanted a new fucking life. I thought the grass was green on the other side. And then basically what I've now seen is that pattern come to fruition again. But when I reflect back, and even reflecting back talking to you right now, I'm understanding that pattern was always there. But I was masked by the fact that is the military way. So that's what they do. The military, I mean, not so much now. They're quite good, mainly for people with families, because one of the negative side effects to being a military sibling is you move around as well. So one of the biggest challenges I had as a child, because my dad was in the military, we moved around every 3 years. So every 3 years I had a new school. Well, if you do that, you're constantly an outsider all the time, because you never really learn. And every school, I don't care what people say, every school, it teaches you differently. And also I went from like north to the Midlands to the south, and they're all completely different. So when I came down to the south, I was fucking so far behind. It was unbelievable. And also I was born I was born like one day away from being in the next year, the head of the top, the eldest in the next year. So it's a bit of a weird situation. So that inherently made me a year behind mentally, for the age group that I was sort of dealing with. That's how it works in school anyway. In the UK, I'll caveat that with the UK. This is UK. Fucking lost my train of thought there. So for me, it's kind of those emotional barriers. They need to be sort of kind of managed, and they need to be monitored. And with all of those things, like say, lots of things come with that, and the side of the military. That was a really inherent problem for me because you suffer bullying. So I suffered bullying. Like I said, my name's James Littlejohn, as in Robin Hood, and I went to a school in Nottingham, which was, the home of Robin Hood, who his fucking fellow colleague was Little John. So I'm painting a picture here. And then when I came down south, this will fucking really, this is the ice on the cake for me. When we moved down south, and I reflect back on my fucking parents. I'm sure they did this for a fucking laugh. We moved into, so I'm going into school, my new school. I'm 13 years old. I've just moved down from a horrendous school being bullied up north. My old dears come down to me and said, "We're fucking going down south. I can't be doing with this fucking bullying up here." So I went down and I was like, "Oh, okay, brilliant." So, new school. Same rhetoric for me. I was 13, so my siblings didn't have the same because they were a lot younger than me. So they sort of they were in primary school. So I sort of suffered quite heavily. That move was quite bad. And then I came down, and they moved into a new house around the corner from the school, and I lived at number 11 John Gay Road. So you go to school. Hi, I'm James Dean Littlejohn, and I live at 11 John Gay Road. Yeah, fucking hell, you've got to develop a bit of a thick skin for that bad boy. I can tell you that. So the challenges are there in life. They're there naturally. They literally pop out of nowhere. I didn't expect that. Again, that's the unexpected. And they say life expect the unexpected, mate, because you know what I mean. It's going to happen, whether you fucking like it or not. So I like I said, I learned this pattern. And I've reflected on it now because I suppose for me, it's a really destructive pattern to have. And I don't know how to get out of that loop because I know that I won't be content with staying where I am because I'm not going to be challenged enough. Because I know the foundation of my job, I kind of know I'm not going to be challenged. So I'm kind of sitting there going like, fuck it. I'm just going to, the only thing I can do mentally, which I'm trying to do, is actually, number one, not step back. So don't be a dick. Don't act like a dick and start being self-sabotaging. Carry on doing what you can do, and then just wait for something to happen. And if the right opportunity, so this is my mindset now. If the right opportunity comes along, then Billy bonus, I'll take it. If the right opportunity doesn't come along, then just be happy where you are because you are happy. I know I'm telling you I'm not, but because I want more challenges, etc., etc. And I elaborated last time that my ADHD brain goes, bigger promotion means more money, means more fun. So that's kind of like a driving factor for that mental fucking side. But the autistic guy, I mean, this guy, this guy, he's happy. He's like, mate, I'm fucking structured. We're writing reports. We're looking at compliance data. We're doing all this. We're doing investigations. I'm happy, mate. We're structured. I go to work. I come home. I live down the road. I've got a good work-life balance. What the fuck's your problem, mate? And then fucking old Chippy over here, fucking knobhead, he's going, nah, mate, I want to cause some destruction. So I'm going to take control for a little bit, and then we'll see if you can pick up the pieces. And that's literally what my mind says. So it's quite a difficult one. So I suppose, again, put it to the community. Is this something you experience? I've seen people talk about it, so I assume it's a general thing. I suppose I just want to know if it is. I don't know. I don't really know. So, again, I'm just navigating fucking life here. I haven't got a fucking Scooby-Doo. All I'm trying to do is learn for myself. So for me, I'm learning for myself. The sense is I'm learning that you can't sustain this because, you're just going to fucking put yourself into an early grave because you're going to stress yourself out for 2 years every fucking time and give yourself a 6-month break. So you can't sustain that. That's not sustainable. Stop it, James. And the other bit is, you're kind of like you're building relationships, and then you're just going to go and fuck them off. For what gain? So all of these questions, I'm questioning myself, and I suppose ultimately, his side of the brain's trying to win because I'm putting in a bit more structure. I'm talking myself third person. I sound fucking mental. Fucking hell. You mental bastard. But this is what it's like. I have this argument every fucking day. I argue with myself. I sit in here and I'm like, What are you going to fucking do today, James? And then there's times where I sit there and I go, I'm in a situation here and I don't know how I got here. How the fuck did I get here? And there's times where I've sat there and I've gone, why am I stood in the middle of the road with no clothes on? This is fucking crazy. Fucking hell. Fair play. So I'm used to it. But at the same time, I'm trying to win. So I'm trying to get a bit of structure back in my life, because now do you know what? I think the beauty of reflection, and I talk about reflection all the time because I think it's invaluable to reflect on yourself. In fact, I wrote a note actually at the back of the last thingy, and it's because I went to work and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm reflecting." And there was a comment that was made at work, and they said, "Oh, you reflect a lot, James." And I'm going to give a little summary of what I wrote. It exactly is it. So it says here. So I reflect a lot, and I believe that inward learning about life events that happen in real time allow you to plan for them in the future. This is my, I've written this to myself. So many of us walk around with our head up our asses, because we do. Let's be honest. As human beings, there's so many people that walk around with their head up their fucking ass and have no idea. And you're like, I mean, there's times I've gone, I don't know how you've survived. How have you survived? And I think, I genuinely believe, the less you know and the less you want to know about life, I genuinely believe this, the happier you are. The more you know about life, the unhappier you are. And that's a fucking given. If you can walk around with your blinkers on, smiling and waving, going, fuck it, mate, I want to be that guy. I 100% want to be that person. I 100% want to be that person. So anyway, so many of us walk around with our head up our asses. We can all agree. Many of us do that. Thinking everything they do is perfect and the world is wrong. So that's my little narrative there. So, and I believe in that, because I only started a lot of this, and it's not inward thinking. It's not like, it's not yoga. It's not nothing like that. I reflect. And by what I mean is I reflect in real time. So not in real time, but in the moment, I reflect sometimes, but I like to reflect in real time as much as I can. So that maybe it's always in the evening. I sit in my man cave for an hour every single evening, and I reflect on the day. Have I done something wrong? Or not have I done something wrong like tell me off. I mean, have I done something wrong? How did I speak to people? How did I articulate myself today? Is there anything that I wanted to do today that I didn't do today? But why didn't I do it? Could I have done that better? Have I engaged with everyone in the right manner? Was I a bit moody? Did I eat enough food? Did I drink enough water? So these are all things I reflect on. And that sounds like a fucking ridiculous set of questions, but it is. And the reason it is because I've learned that a learned habit comes every 3 months. So if you do something continuously for every 3 months, I think it's every 3 months. Don't quote me, but I think it is. It becomes a learned habit. So if you do it consistently for 3 months, your body will now take that over as a learned habit. So it's the same as like weightlifting, for instance. They talk about muscle memory. The reason they've got muscle memory is if you do the right repetition enough times at your starting phase of starting, say, for instance, weights, you will carry on that all the way through your increase of weights, because you've got that natural body movement. So I used to do weight training years and years ago, but I know now if I picked up a bench or went to jump on a bench, it doesn't matter what the weight is. It does matter what the weight is because I'm not that fucking strong. But what I'm saying is if I put on 10K, I would still do the same movement as my max lift because I got that muscle memory. So it's very much like that in life. So, if you do something continuously, and I mean continuously, not like I did it on the first day, I did it on the fucking third month. You've got to do something consistently at a specific time and a specific event to make it routine. So you may say to yourself, I said 2 years ago, every Wednesday I would go to the pub. This is a fucking good one. Every Wednesday I would go to the pub and get pissed. No, I would go to the pub and I would meet up with my mate. We would have a game of snooker where it started off with snooker. We'd start off with snooker every single Wednesday. What that did is it broke the week up for us. It got us together, being my bestie. We were chatting, chewing the fat. We had a pint, put the worlds to rights over a couple of games of snooker, and then we go home. Literally a couple of hours. We met at 6 o'clock. We left at 8 o'clock. That's what we did. We did that learned habit. And now I've been doing that 2 years. Every single Wednesday. And it's gone to the point where I'm now part of a darts team. So the darts club, and we're part of the pool. So we play pool and darts every single Wednesday. We don't drink. We have a Coke. But the get together is the important bit now. The part is we routinely meet every single Wednesday. We get together. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. Day of the year it is. Fuck off, James. Doesn't matter what fucking. It doesn't matter what week of the fucking month it is. That's what I'm looking for. It matters what day it is because it's a fucking Wednesday. So every single Wednesday we meet up and we get together. And what we do is we rip the shit out of each other for 2 hours. Basically, that's what we do. You're shit at pool. You're a fucking you dickhead. You can't play pool for shit, mate. You shit at darts. You fucking can't play darts for shit. It's literally like that, with a little bit of like, we have a download about work, we have a download about family, and we have a general download about life. And we just chat. But we have a 2-hour concentrated period on hump day where we just go, fuck it. Let's just talk, have a bit of a laugh. And every single time, and I mean every fucking time, I come out of there with a headache because I've laughed so fucking hard. Because I'm like a fucking child. I go in there. There's no limit on what we talk about. There's no limit on. We never have limits anyway. We swear like troopers. We just act like we're just fucking kids. We're in there. Fuck this. Fuck that. I'm launching darts at his fucking feet. He's trying to wrap a pool cue. That's got violent, didn't it? Real quickly. But we just have a good time, and it breaks the week up. And then before you know it, we're meeting up and we're talking about it on in the morning. All right, buddy, still meeting up tonight? Yeah, good. And we still do the check-in. And then we meet up and then we go away and we go, fuck, it's Thursday tomorrow. Fucking hell, we're smashing the week out, boy. So, and then before you know it, you're on the downward spiral. So it's a great thing, something to look forward to and something to fucking take us to the end of the week. And it's worked. And it's a learned habit. It's now become a routine thing. And we do it every Wednesday. So it's a really good thing. And like that can happen to anything in life. If you drank a pint of water every single morning at 7 o'clock, within 3 months, you would naturally be, you'll go down and you won't think, because when we start off, we're like, oh, fuck, I need a drink of water. Okay. Yeah, I've got to remember to do this. And you have to remember. And then you sit there and then you get to a point where you'll forget and you go, fuck, I didn't have that today. So you'll remember yourself again. And then you'll get into a momentum where you go, must remember. And then all of a sudden, 6 months gone down the line and you don't realize for the last 3 months, you've been cracking that fucking tap every single morning at 7 o'clock, drinking a fucking pint of water, starting your day off hydrated. It's the way it works. Our brains are fucking pretty simple. It's a learned habit. How do you think we learn to fucking walk? Do you know what I mean? How do you think we learn to shit in the toilet? All these things are learned habits. Nothing changes through life. It's not a case of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You fucking can. It just depends on your mindset. Yes, it's harder when you're older. Your mind isn't much of a sponge. Also, as you're an adult, you go through fucking life and there's time. I was meant to go play football. Not play football. I was meant to go and watch football tonight. And I had all intentions of going to play. Fuck off. My mind's gone today. I've had a really busy day, but I really wanted to talk. And I was meant to go to football tonight. And I got invited with work, and I was like, yeah, and it was about 3 o'clock, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, come on, we'll go, yeah. And they were like, oh, don't lunch out on me. And then we meet at 7 o'clock. I didn't get out of work till 6:05, and I'd had no breakfast, no dinner, and no lunch. So no breakfast, no lunch. I don't know how you do it. I used to do breakfast, dinner, tea, but I know some people go breakfast, lunch, dinner. And I hadn't had anything. And I was like, it was 6:05, and I just messaged saying I'm not going to make it because I knew I had a 15-minute drive home, which was 6:20. By the time I get through the door, I'm almost ready to go back out. Now, there's a double-edged sword there. I felt really sad because I wanted to go because it was a bit of socialisation. It was watching football. But then on the other side, I felt sad that I felt that I was I was just knackered, and I was like, I can't do it. But I wanted to feel like I achieved something, so I came on and spoke on the podcast. So I'm trying to mitigate that in my mental state, so I don't sit there and go procrastinate on it and feel like I've got a little bit of RSD, bit of rejection sensitivity disorder because I fucking let everyone down. I even messaged the guy, I'll pay for the ticket, mate. I'm so sorry. Ticket was fucking free. But that's how guilty I feel because I didn't want to let people down. Excuse me, whatever it. And those whistles, I can't do that because that probably really echoes down the thing. So it's a minefield, isn't it? It's a minefield. This thing called life, and life's naturally difficult anyway. As I've said to you, 80% of us are fucking feeling it. I'd say we're all at some point in some life. I'd say unless you're extremely wealthy or you're comfortable, you're going to feel a bit of pressure. We all have different stresses in life, and they all change, and they change through life. My stresses are certainly not the same stresses I had when I was 18 as what they are now at 44. They're different stresses, and like I said, stresses are stuff that happen in family. I just think for me, I think, like I say, reflection really does help massively. it's hugely helping me at the moment. Like I say, I started my journey 5 years ago, and the learned habit, and it's taken me 5 years. And I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to stop learning. I don't think I'm going to stop trying to adapt coping mechanisms and install them in my life as on the regular, doing that learned habit thing. I don't think I'm ever going to stop that, because I never get it right. It's never going to be right. But what I do is those learned habits are hopefully making life easier. That's the easiest way to try and describe it. Is we're all going to feel pain. We're going to lose loved ones. We're going to lose pets. We're going to lose jobs, whatever it may be. I always live on the basis that you can't take anything with you physical when you die, but what you can take is memories. And I think that I've that's a driver for me. Is I want to create as many memories as I can, so that I can be rich mentally. I can be rich, and that's another thing that's massively got me through this last 5 years. Is saying yes to things and get it. He says, as he fucking says no to go into. I'm exhausted. All right, give me a fucking break. But I was tired. I really wanted to say. I did say yes originally, but I was in a good mood at 3:00 at 5:06 after the 3 hours that have gone by. I wasn't in a good mood. I wanted to go to bed. So I feel like I'm giving back though here now. So it's a win-win. Okay, give me a skittle here. So I think but it's a learned habit for me, and I'm going to continue to navigate that. There's lots of coping mechanisms that I've instilled that I do on a regular basis now. Some of them, like I make sure I get 10,000 steps in every day. That's a learned habit. I started that in January. I now do it religiously, and I watch my phone and I go, okay, and it'll give me a notification. 1,000. Give me another one a minute ago saying, excuse me, that's Coke. That's why. Telling me that I'm 80% and I've got 1,000 steps to go. So I'm like, okay, well, as soon as I've done this podcast, I'm going to jump out and take the dog for a walk. So for me, I'll get those 1,000 steps in. But again, I wouldn't have done that a year ago or in before Jan. I would have just said, fuck it, what's that? Turn that notification off. That's just pissing me off. So it's a learned habit. But what it has done is helped me lose 2.5 stone. It's, which has in turn helped me stop snoring. It's in turn helped reduce my headaches and migraines. I still get stress ones, but it's alleviated some of that pressure, took some of the weight off my fat head. So all of these things, I feel healthier. I feel, I feel younger than I probably look. I do, because I look old as fuck at the moment. So all of these things are coping mechanisms. I make sure that I drink at least a litre of water a day. Again, that wasn't a thing for me. I would just be like sitting there, I'll have a cup of coffee or something. But I don't. I'm like sat there going, mate, you've got to fucking start making some seriously life-changing decisions here, buddy. You need to start being healthier. So all of these things, I get into a car. There's a certain way I get into my van. I get into my van, and it's set up in a certain way. I know when someone else has been in my van because it's not exactly as I set it up. All the lights, the dash lights are off because I don't want them to overstimulate me when I'm driving, because a lot of people that don't realize that there's an adverse effect to driving with all of those lights on. So one of the things I learned as a really quick coping mechanism for ADHD, because I like the colors and stuff anyway, and I like to be colorful. But what I did learn was, when I was driving at night, especially because that was my really bad trigger, was night driving, was because I was so overstimulated looking at red lights, orange flashing lights, on and off brake lights, headlights, street lights, people coming, lights coming from the side when you're in side junctions. All of this was a massive overstimulation for me. And I couldn't understand why I was getting so fucking angry. And it's happened for years. But I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I was getting into the car and I was ready for a fight. I'd get into the car like, fucking someone's going to piss me off. I know they're going to fucking piss me off, so I'm going to fucking get them. And that's how I was getting into the car. So I changed that mindset and I actually went, right, James, turn the radio, fucking dim the lights down, dim the dash lights down. I put a tinted screen on the front, a legal tinted screen to try and dull the reflection. I put tinted screens on my wing mirrors so I wouldn't get the headlight reflection from behind. And I bought an automated dimmer for my for my rear view mirror, which dims when it gets the headlights on. So you just see the lights, you don't see the bright reflections. Now, these are all coping mechanisms I researched and implemented. Why? Because I wanted to learn and be better. I wanted to go out to drive at night and not want to fucking murder people. The same as I talk about the blue badge. I got a blue badge because I said to the person, I said, I'm fucking unpredictable in car parks, mate. I really am. I just, and this is the evidence. So that helps me. So I don't have to stress about parking. And that's like a life, that's a game changer. I know some people might see that taking a piss, but it's not, it's a game changer for me. I'm not going into my car, which already stresses me out anyway, going through town overstimulated by people walking out in front of me, because that's a fucking chaos. And this is something they don't talk about. ADHD, they don't talk about it when driving because it's fucking bonkers. You're not just in a car, and most people, I guarantee most people you're fucking ready to pick a fight with has got some sort of fucking mental disorder, because they're like, fuck you, I'm reactive. I remember getting out of a car once. I was coming into a 30 zone, and this is to give you an example about how fucking batshit crazy I can be. I was coming into a 30 zone, and basically this fucking kid in a fucking Corsa shot past me, fucking went flying past me on a blind corner, and then shot in front of me because, I don't know, for no fucking reason at all. I went from zero to fucking hero. Bearing in mind, I had my wife in the car next to me, and I had my 3 children in the back. This is how I need to mitigate risks, because this is how unpredictable I can be. So I decided in my fucking Ford Galaxy fucking people carrier, I'm going to fucking have you. So I fucking jammed out. I fucking overtook him. I fucking banged in, and I slammed my fucking brakes on. Not even a hesitation. This fucking kid did not know what hit him. I jumped out my fucking car, and I'm ready to fucking go. He doesn't even hesitate. Fucking bangs his car in reverse. I took off a fucking flip-flop, and I fucking threw a flip-flop at his car. What the fuck am I going to do? There's me running up the fucking street, launch my fucking flip-flop, fucking screaming at him, pounding up the street. And it's not until you, this is not where it stops. So I then run back down, because I know where he's going, because I know he wants to go to Amesbury, and I know what he's going to do. This town I was in, he's going to turn around and he's going to go the back way. So I know this, and this is how fucking crazy it was. So at this point, I stopped and said to my kids and my missus, get out the fucking car. Because I said, I'm so fucking livid. Get out the fucking car. I cannot risk you. So, but I left them by the police station, ironically. I then chased this fucker. I then went up this hill, went the back roads round, and then I saw him coming down the street, and I fucking flashed him as if to say, "Prize, motherfucker." And I fucking drove on the other side of the road and said, I'm fucking coming for you, mate. I'm going to stop your car, and we are going to fucking go toe to toe, because you have a fucking... Now, the mindset for this was and this is what triggered it, wasn't what I wanted. The adrenaline's what I wanted, as I now know. My mindset was, you put my family at risk by doing what you just did on a blind corner. I'm going to teach you a fucking lesson. It was my mindset. That's where it started. It ended up... Well, I didn't end up at all, because I'll finish the story. So I come along. Anyway, he fucking slams his brakes on because he sees me. I gave him enough warning, because I was like, I'm playing chicken, but I'm not going to fucking I'm not stupid. I'm going to fucking have a head on with this guy. So no, I don't think so. Unpredictable. He stopped, and then I saw him turn around. So I was like, fucking brilliant. Okay, we've now got a fucking chase on our hands. So I'm fucking chasing this guy. He's going through fucking red lights. I'm not going through red lights. Next thing I know, we're up this fucking hill, and I'm toe to toe in a Ford Galaxy, bearing in mind. I'm fucking behind him, and I'm going, I don't care where you're fucking going, mate. One of us is going to run out of fuel, and that's the only thing that's going to fucking stop us. It was my mindset at this point, until I looked down and my car was overheating. Thank fuck for that. So I literally went, I can't afford a bill. So pragmatically, the good side of my brain took over, and I went, that's going to be expensive. Okay. I fucking took the next junction off. I drove home. I drove to my parents' house where I was going. My wife didn't talk to me for 2 weeks after that event. Understandable. And again, I'm transparent enough to know fucking I fucked up. So I didn't really fuck up, because I didn't take her on it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I let her out. The ashamed bit is I went and did it. But that was before I was even diagnosed, because I was a lot younger then. So I suppose from her perspective, without a diagnosis at the time, which I was I was a neurotypical, if you want to put it in brackets, I just seemed almost... So it wasn't really aware in the 90s. I suppose from her perspective, she just thinks you're a fucking psycho, mate. What the fuck you in the early 20s? Sorry, so she probably just thinks you're a fucking psycho. So I'm really disappointed in you, and I'm kind of going. So, but what happened was I got home and I walked through the door, and then I just made a fucking bro. I'm like, that was a bit fucking risky, wasn't it? And that was it. That was done and dusted because the adrenaline worn off. I felt really content now. Why? Because I've had a good half an hour of adrenaline. I'm calm. I'm like, woo, this is good. It's like a fucking high. So yeah, so that's a little story about the fucking unpredictability of it. So, so what I do is I put these mitigations in place to try and alleviate those problems. But again, I cast my mind back. This has only happened because I decided to take control of myself. I could carry on going through life, and there is people that go. That I'm not the only one. That's why I'm saying I'm not the only one that's like this. This is probably a common theme across the, the psychology. The psychology landscape. This is probably a very common thing. It's why we get diagnosed. So I suppose it's just the extremities, and there is people that have gone to the extremities and not taken control of their life, and often I think from my experience they're probably in prison because I teetered on that for years. I was pushing boundaries all the time. It was only because of everything that my switched on brain, if you like, the side that wants a little bit of structure and stability said, you can't do those things, James, because you're in the military. And then when I came out of the military, you were like, you can't do these things. You've got a family. Now I'm at the point where you're like, you can't do those things. You've worked really hard to get where you are. So fucking calm down. So I've always had something sensible on my side of my fence telling me to stop and wind it back a little bit. But I can imagine, if you're just neurodivergent with just ADHD, I can imagine that's quite painful. I'll be honest, because mine's caveated with a little bit of sensibility, so a little bit of structure. It's only when you get me in the right environment with the right people do I fucking let go. And I'm kind of like, I've got no filter. That's the thing. Even on this, I've got an element of a filter. You get me in the right person, the right environment, I'm fucking a completely different person. And I am people will tell you, who the fuck are you? I think I'm being described as Frank the Tank at the moment. It's just fucking because you're like a couple of beers down you, mate, and you're fucking off. But I don't. But I have a sensible head that says to me, James, you can't do this. You need to do that. Switch on. Sometimes it doesn't win. Sometimes, But then but also at the same time, I go, if he does win on that side of the brain, it doesn't really matter because there's no real repercussions here. So there's no real risk for me to get involved and tell him he's got to calm down. So and then I go, woo, that's a good experience. And that's where I push the boundaries, mate. That's where I get the memories from, baby. So it's interesting. So I suppose my takeaway from this is, again, I'm going to reiterate the fact that be kind. Okay. Yes, I'm doing my due diligence, and please look at it from the perspective of the host, where I was coming from. I don't think that should be perceived as a negative. And also just, I suppose a bit of feedback. Is this something other people have experienced, I suppose? And what's your experiences? I think for me, I'm trying to do everything I can. So I'm trying to refuse to do what that side of the brain wants to do, and I'm trying to say, right, play it cautiously, carry on. And what I tend to do is, if I'm in a really negative space and isolate myself, I'll work from home. I do have that luxury. Not everyone does. I appreciate that. But I work from home to isolate myself because I may not be in a peoply person mood. So I kind of go, to save yourself from kicking off, just fucking take a step back, mate. And then what I do is I take a step back and then I reflect and I go, why are you feeling like this, James? This has happened, that's happened. Okay, we can't control that. And then I just kind of analyze everything. And it kind of works for me. It's kind of in a space where I'm don't get me wrong, I fucking say every day, what the fuck, am I ever going to be happy? I don't know. I say it every day to myself mentally, why am I here? What's my fucking purpose? What should I be doing? Because this just feels like a fucking joke. It's a shit joke. And that's often where I go. So I have a really negative side, a really dysfunctional part of my brain that says that all the time. But I try to win those arguments by implementing memories, coping mechanisms, those new learned habits. I try to learn new skills. I try to combat them. Sometimes they do win, and I do go into really depressive states, and there's nothing I can do about that. Really, I just have to. You'll know I normally isolate myself, and everyone in my house knows I do that, and they don't even question it now. They just kind of go, if I'm going quiet, they kind of go, okay, Dad, he's going through something, or James is going through something. that kind of what I tend to get from all of them is this is the beauty of having 4 women, I suppose. This is I'm going to put a positive spin at the end here. The beauty is, yes, they're hard work. Okay, I'm going to say that and emphasize that again. And yes, they bring batshit emotions to the table. But do you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world, because they fucking love me and they look after me. And when I'm in a bad place, they all recognise, because they pick up on those emotions, because that's what women do, and they all make an effort. You know, and that may be, you know, they might get a fucking McDonald's in, or, you know, I might go open the fridge one day and I've got my favourite beer in there, or open the fridge and I've got a bar of chocolate. It's the little things in life, and you kind of go, oh, someone's thinking about me, but they don't want to engage with me, because they don't want to. When I go through demons, I go through fucking demons, because, you know, like I said, for me, when I go to a dark place, I'm fucking. For me, I'm battling fucking Satan. I think, because, you know, he's trying to drag me down there. With all due respect, I probably do deserve to go down there. Certainly, pull me near a church, and I'll catch a light. So, you know, if that's real, I can understand he's probably trying to get me down there early, get me working early. You know what I mean? But I try to mitigate that. I try to stop those things. But that can be a battle. That can take me 2 to 3 days to get through. And I just basically isolate this self, and that's when I'll normally go, fucking hell, what are you doing, James? Why are you in this? What's this fucking life? What's the fucking purpose? This is a game, and I can't be fucked to play this game anymore. If this is the game I have to play, I'm not interested in it. And all of those fucking shitty comments, and, you know, they go through my head all the fucking time, and I just sit there and go, this is exhausting. So what I tend to do is procrastinate as much as I can on those, and just mull them over and go, yeah, and I get the brain in my side, just agree till you exhaust yourself, and then you go to sleep, and then you get through about 2 to 3 days. It's normally about a week every month, depending on what I've been through. But the warm up effect to the downward spiral, and then normally I get to the end of the week and I'm kind of going, and I can feel a bit of a reprieve. And normally it's when I've got something planned. I normally need some event or some sort of meeting. It's like, I'm going fishing this weekend. I can't fucking wait, with the boys, with my brothers. So for me, that's something really exciting to look forward to. So I've had a shitty couple of weeks, and normally I'd be fucking horrendously depressed about this, because I'm like, I can't fucking do this. But because I know I've got something to look forward to, I'm super excited. So that's what again, what have I done there, guys, girls? I put a coping mechanism in. Make sure I book things in. So make sure I don't overwhelm myself and do something too regular, because that'll fucking cripple me. But what I do is I get to that and I go, fucking hell, we got a good time with the boys, you know, or got a weekend away with the missus, or, you know, we're all going into town for the kids, we're gonna have a meal or something. I give myself something to look forward to, and that's how I keep that motivation going. So it's really important. Coping mechanisms, instill them. Learn about yourself. Fuck, man, you got to learn about you. Got to learn about what makes you tick. I will actually say something as well quickly before I finish. I said that in my last podcast that people need to understand me, and so I made it sound like they need to accommodate for me. No, they don't need to accommodate for me. What I mean by I need to emphasize and embellish a little bit on more on that is because I'm quite transparent. I'm quite black and white. I'm very honest. Probably too honest for my own good. I'm very, I can come across as abrupt, but I'm not abrupt. Like I said, I've not got a filter. I just say it as it is. Sometimes later I reflect and go, fuck, I've given too much information there. Because again, I'm oversharing. And that's where I question myself. So I'm asking you. But you know, it's so important, you know, that you manage these things, and you learn, you understand, you adapt, you evolve, and you keep that momentum going. It's so important you understand about yourself and learn about yourself, because you can't change, and sometimes you may be in a situation that you didn't even know was a trigger for you, and you know, like, fuck, you may be going to a job that you don't like, and you may have to go to that job, but you may have to go to that job and not realizing how depressed you are about that job. I keep talking about jobs, but I think it's a most prevalent thing in most of our lives. But you may have a relationship, you may have whatever, but if you're not transparent, open and honest, you know, you're never going to learn from it. And I think for me, I'm just black and white. I just say it as it is. I'm not interested in fucking mollycoddling people. I'm not a dick about it. I won't fucking go up and be abrupt. I'm always careful about how I articulate what I need to. But I think it's really important to be open and honest and transparent, and express your feelings. So I don't want people to accommodate for me, but with those people I'm transparent with, and it's normally I'm transparent with the people I work with directly. The other people, I don't need to, because I'm pretty confident at masking now to be able to see people I don't see on a regular basis. But there's particular people in my business that I engage with on a regular basis. So I'm very open and honest about the things that have happened in my life, to a degree, enough to share with them that I may encounter issues. And also, I'm very transparent about my mental health. So I'm very much I've been completely open and honest with them. I've given them my doctor's letters and everything else, and I tell them when when I was taking ADHD medication, I had to tell them because the tritation period affected me quite badly. And also because I was taking antidepressants as well, so I was a very high risk of serotonin syndrome, which is actually why I had to stop taking them initially, and then had to reevaluate and go on to a different medication. So I've encountered that pathway, but it's really important, I think, to be transparent. So I tell them, I suffer from this, or I need to learn this way, or this is how I learn. Sorry. So if we can try and adapt our conversations for me to be able to learn that way, I can help you. Now, I'm not saying make adjustments for me, because I'm not that fucking arrogant. I don't, I'm not sitting there going, I've got this, you need to accommodate for me, because I think that's quite an arrogant thing to do. But what I do ask is I ask for, I ask for a little bit of support, and also I ask for a little bit of adaptability to help me to help you. And then we get a win-win situation out of it. I'm not asking you to, accommodate me to the point where I'm like, I can only work an hour a day, but I want 20 hours a day working. And when I come in for that hour a day, I want to be in that specific location, looking at that specific window, with that specific desk, that specific chair, with that specific. I'm not like that. I don't believe in being like that. I think that we have our own responsibilities in life, to adapt to life. We can't expect everyone to adapt and evolve for us. We've got to accommodate for everything. And I think that for me, the learning phase is yourself. Inward looking is 100% where to be. Inward look about what makes you tick, what makes you triggered, what triggers you, what makes you happy. Try and do more of that. Try and stay away from the triggers. It's really important to do that. And I think I'm going to leave on that note and say that is where I would start. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I really do. I'm enjoying it. I really am. I'm learning. So if I do step over the mark, please tell me. And rightly so, please let me caveat that this is my experiences. I'm not giving an opinion of how everybody experiences life. I'm not giving an opinion on, because I experience life this way, you're experiencing life, or I'm not even giving an opinion that my life is significantly worse than your life. I'm sorry, but we're all on a level playing field. Life is life, we've got to try and help each other to navigate this fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? It's the only way to do it, is to navigate it with people that can support you. And I've got a great support network, and that's something I'll touch on and talk about in the next one. I want to talk about my little circle of trust, and how I think it's important to develop that, and how important that changed my life, by having the right people around me. So thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you have an amazing rest of the week, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care, everyone. Speak soon.